Breatharianism is physical perfection. Man came into physical existence a perfect breatharian. God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living entity. Genesis 2:7. Nothing was lacking, and nothing more was needed. The breath of life supplied all the requirements of animation. The breatharian needs air only, and nothing more, to sustain his body. In that state of physical perfection, man has no other wants. The less man needs, the more he becomes like gods. We use nothing and are immortal, said the ancient masters. Poverty, want, and sickness are the work of man. They are the products of his habits, which correspond with his desires. He increases his burdens as he multiplies his wants. The less man needs, the more complete he becomes. He gains perfection as he gains freedom from all wants. The more wants he has, the less complete he is, and the farther he inclines from perfection. He changes his world as he changes himself.
Wow. So we can pause there for a moment and just take a look at this. Let's examine this. It says that poverty, want, and sickness are the work of man. They are the products of the habits which correspond with our desires. So we increase our burdens as we multiply our wants. The more and more and more we want, the more we desire, the more we crave, the more we need, the more we must have. They say anything you must have comes to own you. And that it's almost like a form of slavery that we engineer on ourselves. We put ourselves in the handcuffs or the shackles that become our undoing. Whether it is the shackles of food or constantly chewing or whatever it is, the more that you crave, the more that you want, the more you desire, as you multiply these things, you increase your burdens as well. It's like the equation. It must find balance. As we tip the scales on one side, we tip the scales on the other via the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. So when we understand that the ancient masters, the ones that became like gods, or who used nothing or who needed nothing to sustain them but the breath of life, we can understand that this physical state of perfection, we come from this state, that nothing else is required. But to whom much is given, now much is required. It's like the statement, anything in excess creates a deficiency. To whom much is given, much is required. So if we were made in the image, and we can assume that the breath was given, and now the body is in a state of animation, in a high vibration, we invited the confrontation, we invited the complication, we invited the frustration after the animation. Once we were no longer at a level of satisfaction, we had the internal reaction, right? Because we could not be satisfied with our own gratification, we invited our own doom with a low vibration. We've already changed our reality, gone away from immortality. In order to go back, we got to change the mentality. We got to change the way we think, the things we eat, the things we drink, right? So we don't continue to sink, but we start to rise and energize when we realize the breath is a blessing. in disguise. Thank you for listening.